All right, welcome back. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily. WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. We're going to have some very important conversations this morning, as we usually do on Breakfast Daily. Today we want to talk about pre-mix fuel. Yeah. And there's a suggestion of automation of the pre-mix fuel supply. Now,
okay.
You know, the fisher folk have complained for like every year.
It's like every year this conversation comes up about supply of premix fuel. Okay, so this is supposed to be a solution to some of the issues that fisher folk have with the distribution of it.
Yes. So our colleague Calvis Tete has a report. Let's take a look at that. We'll come back and then we'll get into the conversation.
According to the sector minister, Mavis Howard Kumsen, who is also the member of parliament for Ewutu Senya East, the ministry has begun engaging stakeholders in the area of automation for the benefit of the industry. She indicated that this has become necessary as a result of several complaints from fisher folk about artificial shortage of premix fuel, hoarding and diversion, which in the end deny most of them opportunities to go fishing. Explaining to the media how they intend to carry out the automation system, Mavis Howard Kumsen noted that subsidies of fishermen will be put onto an ID card which they can use in obtaining their premix fuel.
Those days now would say na diversion, na premix fuel, strategy in very simple, collaboration and understanding. And when I had to acquaint, I feel as I see diversion yempe, hoarding so yempe. And notice His Excellency the Vice President attacks me as the sector minister. Say opese me automation of the premix fuel. Inti nyame adomo a 2022 de ye be start. Me ne enkofo a omo hu nimde no asate edi hu kommo na enche bia. Fisher folks no so interested because all the premix fuel corner obi nya na obi anya na ayese didije ne emunamu na nenam. But they have also come to believe says no automation na. The yani say ukuta o ID card. O subsidy no will be put on the ID card. What they call swap machine no so a baby amount. Now what to me enya wo fu or now they akoye we dwuma. Nti ye be ye dwuma ye di 2021 na mini say nyame nti 2022 ye be san ye ne kese. Na fishes ni na corporation ka ho.
The sector minister also indicated his resolve to wage war against the illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, popularly known as IUU, which he says is denying the fisheries sector a lot of gains.
Amaka mesan sisubium say IUU ade aye ni nche ho. Start fight no na mini so mbeboa me na yakosora akosa wokono na yakuni ye. Mesra wo mo enya ade ebeboa my Ghana. Etie nyai na obi ankoye na adwuma sene fata. Na afi 2022 de ye be hyemu kenya. Nim so obi abeboa me na ya ne sene fata. Me hye bobi so say ye be ye fish festival 2022. E be baso. OCPS conference is also from the 5th to 8th of April 2022. Ministers, Conference of Ministers in charge of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development. Nini na bebaso.
All right, so that was a report by our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Hammond. Calvis Tete. Calvis Hammond is a musician. Calvis Tete. Just explaining, or Howard Kumsen, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, was explaining how this automation of premix fuel distribution is supposed to take place. I'm sure the details will become clearer as time goes on. But we do have the chief fisherman for Gomwa Nyanyanyo, who is Nana Afo Awotri, on the line, and perhaps he can give us some insight into what he knows, and then he can explain what the issues actually are with regard to premix fuel distribution. Good morning, Nana.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right. So, Nana, I think it would be helpful maybe if you give us a bit of history and background to some of the issues that fisher folk face with premix fuel. Because as my colleague David and I were discussing, it seems like every year we hear about premix fuel issues and some kind of inconsistencies in distribution and it being politicized. And as we heard in our report, some kind of, fake shortage or hoarding of premixed fuel. Can you explain to us the challenges that fisherfolk face with premixed fuel distribution and supply?
Yes, it is very true. We face a lot of premixed shortage every season. That's from August to December, from December up to February. That we have so many difficulties in buying of premix for our work.
Okay, Nana, just explain what some of the difficulties specifically are. You say you have challenges in buying the premix. So what are some of those challenges?
The difficulties and challenges are, as in my landing beach, we have so many canoes, and the production and the supply is not effective enough, because they will supply us every week of 3,000 gallons, in which we have to share to the whole community. We have about almost 200 and over canoes which operate in my landing beach. So when they bring it, some other people who want to come in and buy, maybe people from other landing beaches like Pete, Senyabruku, that's Senyabruku, and other landing beaches, they came here. So it's not enough. And sometimes those who operate at the premix station, they know some people, so they will supply to other people who I think they are not taken.
Okay.
Okay, so you think that the fuel is being diverted to people who should not be receiving the premix or having access to it? Okay, fine. Now we heard from the fisheries minister that there's a plan to have fisherfolk using their IDs, so there'll be some kind of digital means by which they can track who is registered to receive premix and all of that. Do you think that would help to curb the problem of fuel diversion or the shortage that we're hearing about?
Yes. It has been about 2 and over years in which they tell us to introduce this ID, that automatic ID, automation ID, so that when you go there, immediately they click on, I don't know, because they have not put anything to us. That will see that, you have been supplied with 25 gallons of premix fuel, or 30 or any other. So I think if they bring that ID, it will stop the hoarding and the shortages of that premix.
Okay. So looking into the future, I mean, we just started 2022. If this automation comes in, I mean, how much of an impact do you think this is going to have on your industry?
So I think we are early in January.
Yes.
Yeah. If what we have promised will come on, then we shall see what is going to happen. But if they didn't bring that ID, and we are using the same method of supply and selling of the premix oil, we are going to face the same problem as we have at present.
Okay. All right.
Because always there's a trouble. Always they bring complaints to me. Always.
Yeah. All right. Nanafo, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning on Breakfast Daily. So we've been speaking with Nana Awotwe Afo, who is the chief fisherman in Komwa Nyanyano. Now, Samuel Atemensa has joined us in the studio.
Yes.
He is the host of Footprints. And good morning, Samuel. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Very
Happy
well.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
to you
Yeah,
too.
we are back.
Yeah. Yes, we're back. We're back.
like joke, as they say. Yeah, we're back.
Yeah. You managed to get some rest?
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Alleged rest.
These
Wow.
days, you have to be careful how you say
How
that
you
so
say
that parade doesn't come for you.
Oh, Charlie.
I mean,
Yeah. So this premix fuel issue, it of course we know it's every year after year we've been having these challenges, and the ministry the chief fisherman actually said that it's been about 2 years now since they've been told that they're going to be given ID cards to access, the automated system for getting premix and so on. He seems hopeful that if it happens, they will all get, it will be fair, and all of that. I'm not sure if you have any particular thoughts about
That's
this.
for premix. It's nothing I know anything about. That I must confess. Premix fuel, no. I don't know anything about premix fuel.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a bit about automation, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how automation
will work in this context.
When you say automation,
Yes. Yeah.
with respect to the distribution of premix fuel, I don't know the connection. I don't know. I honestly don't know the connection.
I mean, the minister was saying that they wanted to create a system where they are able to track, who has received what. And how, when did you get it? How much did you get? And all of that. And to be able to track it if they use.
But there are systems there already. There are systems there already for such things.
So I
I
wonder,
mean, trackers, their fuel trackers are very regular in the system.
Okay.
So again, I don't know what the
what
automation
different.
is.
is.
I think we need further and better particulars.
Yeah. So
and he
fuel
did say,
trackers
yeah.
are, and the issue of having ID for beneficiaries, if you like, I think it's long overdue. And they've had IDs. They've always had IDs. Fisherfolk, they have IDs because they have cooperative unions,
Yes.
and they all have IDs. In fact, in such communities, you don't even need an ID to be identified as a fisherman.
Okay.
Because they know who is and
They know
who is
who
not.
is
Not. Yeah.
The real problem, and this is Ghana, this is not Umofia, this is Ghana. We solve every problem except the problem.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what.
Okay.
We know the people who have been doing this
Diversion of fuel and, yeah.
I don't think we punish them enough.
Yeah.
And that's the big
That's
problem.
really what it is. Yeah.
Look, and these people, you can do whatever automation. So long as they get away with it, they'll pop up again elsewhere. Well, you see, it's a supply chain.
Yeah.
It's a distribution problem.
Yeah.
They will find a way of showing up somewhere else. If people don't get punished enough, you understand?
Yeah.
Maybe they should introduce damper to the whole process.
Maybe they should
Yeah.
damperize the premix fuel distribution.
Because if you look at premix fuel, from where you and I sit, it may not be such a big deal. It may not be such a big deal. But if you go into the fishing communities, it's a whole world to them. It's everything. It's fuel. Literally, it fuels their local economy. And so if there's a problem with a supply chain where at certain points
You don't
it
get it.
becomes too expensive
Okay.
to get,
Okay.
it's like eating your own vomit, excuse my language.
Yeah.
It's like you're punishing them, but the outcome is seen on the markets.
yeah.
And who is going to suffer? You and I.
Yeah.
So if it's automation of whichever kind, I just said I don't understand that
what they
automation.
exactly they're doing,
But the problem is the people who divert, they get away with it. And there are cartels who do these things.
It's a major operation.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Cost fuel. I mean, premix fuel, why do you do the premix? So that you can lower the price and make it affordable for fisher folk.
Yes.
Now, if you do all these things, and at the end of the day, the fisher folk can still not afford
it,
because of unauthorized middlemen who don't get punished hard enough. It's not going to end.
Yeah.
I wonder if there needs to be a separate ID. I mean, from the rhetoric we've heard, it sounds like they're trying to come up with an ID for this. What's the Ghana card for then? Can't this be something that
I don't
could be?
think
I don't
it's
know.
any biometric anything. You see, look, maybe those of you who are old enough will remember that this automation of fuel distribution is actually what we see at our fuel pumps today.
Oh, okay.
With everything in a digital fashion. Prior to that, we had the one that you pump and then physically see the
thing come.
Yes, you pump. That's mechanical. You pump and everything. But when you go to the fuel pump today, do you see anything?
No.
And yet, don't they cheat us all the time?
Yep.
They shortchange us all the time. So I'm just saying that if people don't get punished enough for diverting fuel, you can introduce state-of-the-art anything. They'll still do it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We're talking to Samuel Mensah, host of Footprints. We're discussing some news issues, and this particular one has to do with premixed fuel and whether or not the distribution of it will be automated, whether or not fisherfolk will be assigned a particular ID to track who's getting what.
And if you check the last interaction the fisheries minister had with the public, she actually warned that the people who do the diversions, they will be coming after them. I don't know what has changed.
Well, let's see what has changed. What has changed? Okay, we can talk about something else now.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
I think we should.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at a conversation that's, I mean, we've been doing this because it's about infrastructure and it's really about amenities, basic amenities in different communities. And we're going to Ashanti region. The woes of a town called Homabenase. Homabenase, in Ashanti region. Now, we're talking about roads, toilet facilities, health centers, and so on and so forth. Challenges, that they are facing with these basic social amenities. We have a report by our colleague Hafiz Tijani. Let's take a look at this report. We'll come back, put things in context, have a conversation about this. Let's take a look.
And residents on the Donyina-Homabenase stretch go through difficulties using this road. The dust on the road becomes unbearable in the dry season, and road users face a whole new challenge when the rains set in. Inhabitants of the area say they can no longer withstand the challenges they go through using the road.
And never hire dear bebre, Namom Yaquay dear, a yadia be a titi yabrabo, Chester Quay, Yamiandom, by Wayabe Sidrina, Amayan, a free drina, Bessene, across Ariano. A foot to Brania, Wakrom Hanina, is your toe, a quano kind to me faso. Foot trade any jayet, dear money, and quale, when the any. Ya see a walk massacre.
In fact, so from Donyina to Homabenase within 5 minutes drive, Nankawadu. But because of a quinine in Intino, Portos near the Intino, we took you about 25 minutes and send over to Chroma. And from here to Tech, crying Babia, mechanic say, within 25 minutes drive, Nankawa Tech. But because of a quinine, we share gutters are buying a contract and be for last year now.
The poor road network here is just one of many problems indigents of this community face. The lack of places of convenience is also a major challenge, and residents here fear the insanitary conditions could lead to outbreak of diseases.
Toilet and Oklahoma so the whole town in a toilet near Bacope. The best buying is a buying machine. No one will be my.
Opinion leaders and elders led by the chief of the area say consistent efforts to get the roads and other challenges in the community addressed have not been successful.
Humabinase has been a town of problems, a town of wanting, because many past governments have laid blind eyes and deaf ears to the development of this village. And this is really appalling. There has been no development in the electrification of the town. Several approaches have all fallen on deaf ears. To be frank with you, the town is now bigger than it was then. So about 1/3 or maybe half of the town are without electricity. I have on several occasions approached the district chief executive. The last time I went there was about 2 months ago, when he told me that in my presence he rang the Bekwai regional officer, and they told me they were bringing people to inspect it. If the inspectors will come today, is yet to be seen.
The chief wants the government to urgently come to the aid of his community.
This is sad indeed, and I'm appealing to the government to help us towards this goal. I've already talked to the MP, who is also the educational minister on this. And he told me he would do his best. And up to now, since the election, we haven't seen anything going on here.
The chief, who also touched on national issues, waded into the controversial e-levy.
First of all, I will employ the government, and I'll commend the government for bringing the e-levy tax. Because it is the middle class and the high class from whom we need money to service the country. These high class people have actually they have grabbed all the resources. When you go to some places, they will say it is Kufuor sawmill. This is this, this is that. You know, and when the government is taxing and people are talking of it, what are you trying to say? Agreed. What are you trying to say? If you think the levy is higher, we must plead for reduction. But to make demonstration and whatnot that it is totally untenable is not good.
For the elders and people of this area, an intervention from the government is needed to address the challenges.
No. Okay, that was a report filed by our colleague Hafiz Tijani from the Ashanti region. Pronounce the name of the town again for me correctly.
Humabinase.
Humabinase.
I'm probably saying Humabinase.
Okay.
Humabinase. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a name.
Of the town.
Yes.
That has a lot of infrastructural challenges, and I'm sure not unique to them.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, and this is something we've been talking about, you know, over the period, you know, the last few months and years. We've been talking about this, and this is a microcosm of something that is more national, you know, and the whole challenge that we have where a community has issues with roads, has issues with access to schools, health centers, and so on. And we need to look at it. Look, this is 2022 that we find ourselves here. You know, what are we going to do as a nation to advance this? I mean, I'm not sure why you are smiling, but you're smiling about something very knowingly.
Especially with a town like this, that according, you know, one of the residents who spoke talked about the proximity to University of Science and Technology. So if you have a town that's on the periphery of such a major university, there's obviously going to be a lot of commercial activity, a lot of opportunities for jobs, and if you've got that kind of road infrastructure and lack of amenities, then it's a big issue for that particular area. Oh, Samens.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. You're making the point. Yes.
Because it's essentially a peripheral university town.
It is.
So they need,
is.
you know, amenities that would help to develop the area, expand the area, give more opportunities to people, and help people pay the e-levy that the chief was talking about.
know, right?
I don't know. Yeah. But okay.
Well, I mean,
seriously.
well, I mean, see, if you, I'm not so familiar with Kumasi as is now.
Okay. You went to tech.
Yes.
Right. You also went to tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is how many?
No, I just went to school.
Yeah, so did I.
You did wrong.
You know, but I'll make a point that I think what we are seeing is the outcome of the speed of urbanization.
Okay.
Is the speed of urbanization, and you see this in most countries, especially where regulation is weak. And I'm talking about regulating spatial development, very weak. You see these things happening. Now, I haven't heard the name of this village before. And not because I'm an authority in anything. I just have not heard it before. For somebody who had my early life in Kumasi. Now, most of where people consider new areas in Kumasi used to be stark bushes when we were growing up. And I would imagine that this village, this town or community that we are talking about 20 years ago would be one of them.
Okay.
Now, those of you in Kumasi will look at places like Fanchinibra, Adiebeba, you know, this area beyond Santasi roundabout where you have St. Hubert's and Opokuare Secondary School. Now, anything beyond St. Hubert's at the time was forest.
Okay.
Today, what do we have? Urban areas. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, even when I was in KNUST, which would be maybe 15, 20 years after I was a kid in Kumasi, Aija, which is the next,
just across the road.
We used to call it Aija Village.
Aija Village, it's true.
Aiduase, which now has some of the nicest houses in Kumasi today, used to be Aiduase Village. So we are now trying to catch up with the speed of urbanization, and that's resource dependent.
We have the DCE for the area, for DCE for Bosomtwe, lawyer Joseph Esuming with us. Good morning, lawyer.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thanks so much.
All right, and Happy New Year to you as well.
And same to you, please.
All right.
Same to you. Yeah.
So we're just focusing on Homa Benase. Yes, and the challenges that they are facing in that area, of course, it's not unique to them. But as the DC of Bosomtwe, what are your thoughts in terms of the plans for development, you know, across your jurisdiction for looking at 2022?
Well, again, thanks so much for this opportunity. And let me extend my warmest greetings to all your studies listeners in this 2022 year. As you are aware, development is a process and not an event. Yeah, so like many communities, there are various challenges. I know basically the most pressing issue is about the road network in the area, and which we are giving to a contractor to work on. I must admit it's quite slow, but we are going to push him to do what he needs to do this year. Yes.
Okay. So when was this? When were the roads given to the contractor to initiate work?
It was given to him about 2 years ago.
2 weeks ago?
No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so what's I hear gutters have been built, but beyond that, nothing else has been done.
Yes, yeah.
So what seems to be the challenge? Because 2 years seems to be a long time.
Basically, it is financial.
Okay.
It's cash flow challenges. Basically, that's the issue. I don't want to hide anything. The main reason is financial challenges, which we are trying to fix. Yeah.
But, okay, so how were you able to award the contract without the money to pay for it?
This is what we do, is that we award contracts to those who can do it. Then after when they work, we pay them for what they do.
So the resources were not, let's say, allocated and set aside?
No.
So this contractor basically has to mobilize,
yes,
commence the work, and then whenever you're able. So, but then that creates a problem, doesn't it, of continuity? If the contractor gets to a point where, you know, maybe he's been working for a year or so, he's not getting paid, he can't continue.
That's the best option at these circumstances. No, we don't have the money available. If we do that, we shall wait for a very long time. So those who can't have the capacity are getting a job to do it. And then after when they do the work, we pay them on whatever we have done.
Okay.
I thought that it's a better option than not doing anything at all.
Okay. So if
you have to weigh your options, then choose the better one or the best amount, the particular you have.
So it presupposes that this contractor seemed to, at the time, have enough money to do this project.
Yes.
And that's why he was awarded.
Yes.
Okay. So
and as when he does some work, we need to be paying him, but sometimes due to cash crisis, we are not able to pay him.
No, right.
So that might cause these delays.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you, as DCE for the area, what are some of your plans for revenue generation? I mean, I don't know how long you've been the DCE for the area, but what are some of the things you're thinking about? You have fiscal challenges, fine. You get allocations from central government, fine. But what plans do you have in place to generate revenue so that you can continue some of these infrastructural projects and even embark on new ones? Because aside this road that we're talking about, we understand even other amenities are also a problem.
Health centers,
and all of that.
Public toilet facilities and so on.
So how do you plan to mitigate these challenges when you have this revenue generation issue?
Yeah, our main source of income is from property risk.
Okay.
So what we're doing now is to value all our properties in the district. We're able to assess them scientifically. In the past, what we were doing is to have a price list for most of the properties, and it's not the best. It's old-fashioned, and that's by God's grace type of revenue collection. So what we need to do is to value every property and then assess those properties accordingly. And this is what we are doing now. But we shall be very scientific, accurate. So when they are paying, they know what they are paying.
So lawyer, are you saying that you're looking at the entire district and valuing the properties across the district and using those rates to solve the areas that have challenges, or you're looking at the community of Homa Benase and looking at their property rates?
So I'm talking from the whole district point of angle.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are going to begin from the big towns. Right now we have begun from Esteso, Keyase, and the other big towns. But eventually we can get there. Yeah, we need to value every property. Yes, so that we can be able to access them scientifically, accurately, and correctly.
And by your projections, once you're able to do that, you'll be able to raise the needed revenue.
Well, I think we can do better than we're doing now.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Well, yes, thank you very much,
Lawyer
Joseph
to you
Esuming,
for this opportunity. And my gratitude to all of you. I wish you a very blessed and prosperous new year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We wish you the same.
Wish you the same.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so Joseph Assuming is the DCE of Bosomtwe. We were
Yeah.
just speaking to him about some of the developmental challenges in his area. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Breakfast Daily continues.
All right, welcome back. The show is interactive, so kindly use the hashtag Breakfast Daily on all social media platforms. The WhatsApp line is 055-058-5832. Let us know what the situation is like where you live, where you're watching us from. We want to hear that. It will be very important for us to add you to the conversation that we're having. But sometimes before we went on the short break, we're looking at the challenge of construction and why do we find ourselves here?
Well, because we don't have money. It's not rocket science. We just don't have money, man.
Yeah.
And again, I come back to my earlier point: the speed of urbanization, uncontrolled urbanization. Now you heard the DC. It says that because we don't have money.
Yeah.
Now, I sense that he's talking about government bringing money.
Yes.
Now, could we ask a very important question? So, you are the district chief.
Yes.
What are your own plans?
Yeah. To generate
What are your own
income?
plans? And he starts talking about
Property
levies,
rates.
property rates. And you and I know that no matter what he does with property rates, he can't solve anybody's problems. You know, how about attracting private investment and companies, factories into the space? How about that?
Yeah.
How about creating other centers of attraction? This Bosomtwe area, I'm not so sure whether I understand the geography, but it looks to me like it was taken out of the Ejisu area.
Yeah.
So this would cover the KNUST area into the real Lake Bosomtwe Chirapatre area, I think. And this is a vast area. Vast area.
Yeah.
So if you are the chief executive, know that government is not going to put honey on your lips every day for you to do anything.
Yeah.
You need to also come up with something. This is the challenge of being a chief executive in the 21st century. But if it goes on the way he was talking, then I don't see any hope for that community. Trust me.
It ain't gonna happen.
Because the money is not sitting anywhere. And those who get the attention are those who are working harder. And working harder means that putting in more effort in developing your community, putting in more effort in selling your problems out for people to come to your aid, putting in more effort to get the attention of central government and making a case for development. That's why we are there. I mean, the government's in, out, they don't do Father Christmas approach where they hold the money and go around and be sharing small. You make your case, you pursue. Look, I'll tell you a story. When Okoboy, at the time when he was member of parliament, was struggling to get that Spintex Teshi dual carriage road done, he used to go and physically go and sit at the roads ministry from morning to evening, like a beggar. He used to go and sit there. At times he would take picture, I'm still here, waiting for the minister to attend to me.
Wow.
Unfortunately, by the time the thing was done, people had boiled up so much that they had to kick him out. You understand? But I'm just saying that you need to do more as a chief executive. Because the resources will not be sitting somewhere waiting for you.
Okay.
As for the politics, they will do the politics of promising. Now, when they throw you there, that go and manage that thing. You know, back was there.
I want us to visit a conversation we were having earlier because we will now have the administrator for the National Premix Fuel Secretariat. I want to find out exactly what it is that this automation is all about. All right, he's the person of Nana Abrokwa Asare. Good morning, Nana.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we understand that there's a process of automation that's being put in place to make sure that all the fisher folk with their ID cards will be able to access fuel easier. And it will be able to be monitored and all that. Please explain to us exactly what this automation is about.
All right. A very good morning to you once again, and good morning to all your viewers this morning, and a very happy New Year to everybody. Yes, you are right. The Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, led by Honorable Mavis Kumsin, materialized that the sure way to go when it comes to solving the challenges with biodiversity, sale and distribution of premix wool, would be the automation. You realize for some time now, we've been doing a lot of education, a lot of enforcement, but we realize that as human as the system is, definitely we can have a waterside system, and the sure way to go is to register all canoe owners for them to have a unique card that they can use the card to purchase this premix wool we are talking about. What we have started to do is to have a pilot built by started with the former minister, that is Honorable Elizabeth. We have a pilot at the moment. So if you go to Nungwa, Kelly, all canoe owners have a card. And if you don't have a card, you can't purchase premix wool. What currently happens is that at the landing beaches, it's an open for all system. You have anybody at all walking to the landing beach and then say, I'm a fisherman, and that person buys premix wool. And we all know that premix wool has other uses other than putting it in outbound motors. Some fishermen even buy this premix wool and use to power their outboard motors. And then do light fishing, which is also very, very illegal. So at the end of the day, you realize that people complain of shortages, people complain of flooding, people complain of the resale of premix wool at exorbitant prices, because the premix wool has other uses. We even have understanding that some people even have a way of smuggling this premix wool to filling stations and then dope it with the normal super and then sell it to unsuspecting victims. Like I said, we've done a lot of education. If you look at the structure of the landing beach composition, the chief fishermen are supposed to be the chairman of this landing beach committee. And the reason why the airline makes it so is that the chief fisherman is supposed to know his fellow fisherman and then be able to sell premix wool to his fellow fisherman. But a lot of times you realize that sometimes it doesn't happen because they are able to sell to middlemen or to sell to other people who use it for other uses and get more money. They are tempted to sell it and make more profit at the back of government. And if you look at it, premix wool is highly subsidized. A gallon of premix wool is supposed to be sold at 70 to 20 pesos. And ordinarily, that gallon of premix wool is going for 25 cedis or 28 cedis. So the subsidy is huge. So it creates an incentive for people to want to make money at the back of government. So we've done a lot of education to these fishermen to let them understand that they need to sell to their fellow fishermen, they need to report to the necessary authorities. We've done a lot of enforcement as well. As I speak to you now, we have cases in court where if you read the LI 2233, section 28 talks about the offenses. Anybody who sells premix wool above the government approved price constitutes an offense. Anybody who diverts premix wool, it constitutes an offense. We've done a lot of enforcement, collaborating with the necessary state agencies to do this enforcement. But we believe that the game changer will be the automation. Where when we talk about the automation, we want to look at it holistically. We want to even solve the safety issues that we are talking about. If you go to the landing beaches now, currently some landing beaches find people frying yam close by landing beaches, etc. So we are looking at the whole system like mini filling stations, how we have our filling stations or gas stations constructed, where it's safety compliant, where they have modern dispensers, where we can even sit in our office and look at the quantity of fuel in each tank across the country, where if you don't have a card, you can't dispense fuel. And then ultimately, we want to look at the capping system. Any subsidized product across the world should be regulated. It doesn't mean if you have so much money, you can buy as many or as much as you want. So we
Nana,
have a captain.
just a quick question. So the pilot that you ran in Nungwa, how successful was it? Because
It's
obviously
been
you want to
very,
roll this
very,
out.
very,
Okay,
very
and
successful.
hang on one second. So yeah, give us some, some information on how successful that was, and then also we needed some timelines. We spoke to one representative of fisher folk in the central region. He says that this discussion has been going on for quite some time, but we don't have any specific timelines or dates for exactly when the automation that you're talking about will be rolled out and how it's going to be done. So can you just give us a bit more clarity on that?
All right. So let me begin with the pilot project at Nungwa. It's been very, very, very successful. In fact, most fishermen who are not even residents in Nungwa, who have had a chance to see it, are now asking us to replicate it across the country. And previously, we have issues of shortages. When the tanker drivers load fuel into the tanks, they complain of shortages. But that has become a thing of the past. And like I said, this discussion started way back with the former minister, and then the new minister too has also taken very keen interest in this project. As I speak to you now, it's a huge project. We have over 300 landing beaches across the country. And what government needs to do is to make sure that it really solves the problem that we are talking about. The Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has charged the current minister to expedite action with regards to this project. And as I speak to you now, we have cabinet memos that have been approved. These projects are huge projects, and we'll have to make sure we exhaust all the procedures.
Okay, so you don't have any specific rollout dates?
I can confidently tell you that by the end of this year, majority of landing beaches across the country would have the system. As I speak to you now, even today we have a meeting with one of the service providers who is coming in to give us an overview of how the thing is going to work out. So we are working seriously at this project. Today, as I speak to you, on top of the minister and some team are meeting to give us an overview of how it's going to work. So definitely by the end of this year, I can confidently say that we will have this landing beaches, this automated system across the country.
So Mr. Sari, basically, I just want to have a picture because I don't understand the fishing space and how things work. But so what you're saying is that if by the end of this year, if we go to any of the landing beaches, what we will see is a regular filling station that's selling premixed fuel. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the model is going to be
the
like
modern filling station that we're talking about.
Where we have dispensers and fishermen will have the cars. As I speak to you now, the cars are even ready.
Okay.
That is, premixed fuel, we have the marine and then the inland. We printed all the cards for the marine.
Okay.
That is Western region, Central region, Greater Accra region, and the Volta region.
Yeah.
We are just about to distribute the cards to the fishermen. So the cards are ready. What we need to do is tie in the infrastructure or the hard components and then roll it out. So the ministry is really working at this with the necessary speed that it desires. We have to make sure we exhaust all the procurement processes and all the lay down regulations to make sure that all the seasons.
Thank you so much, Nana. Nana Broko Asari is administrator of the National Premix Fuel Secretariat. Thanks for clarifying some of the issues that we've been discussing this morning. Okay.
Well, it's just as Samir said earlier on. The issue is basically the pumping machine that we're using in the past. Now we have a proper automatic machine. You don't see the fuel climbing up and then pouring into the anymore.
I think their introduction is the new thing is the introduction of what we call electronic database, which will do a referencing and a proper electronic listing of legitimate users of premix. So I think that's the addition.
Okay.
But basically, let's bring
just not anybody can go and buy
type of dispensers we have at our fuel stations closer to the people, so that we can dispense one. Secondly, make sure you dispense to people who are supposed to be legitimate users.
Yeah.
Now, here's the trick. So they are purposely for to be used by society. You know, the societies.
Yeah,
you don't know society.
because they say it's what, it's 7 cedis per gallon, right?
You don't know society.
Society. Oh, finally, society.
Oh no, Charlie. No, I'm devastated.
Oh no.
Number society.
Oh, I can't number.
No, society.
Society is a Ghana word for outboard motor.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Society.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
The premix is for
this is
use
new.
in the society.
This is new to me.
Oh, okay. Wow. So the society people, they will use that thing.
Yeah.
But you first register to be part because you own the canoe, right?
Okay.
Now, when you own the canoe, we assume that you
exactly.
go, so you use it.
Yes.
Now, what if the canoe is out of order, which happens regularly? And at times, it actually goes out of use.
Yeah.
But they are still members. This is a little loophole. It will be exceptional cases, but it will be good to see this thing implemented. Maybe not with the aim of eradicating the problems, but minimizing it to acceptable levels.
Yeah.
So he says that Nungwa is working well. We will go to Nungwa and check with the people and see. Now, if it's working, then we'll also push to make sure that other communities benefit.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well,
society.
At least.
We learn something new every day.
Wait, I'm surprised.
Oh, Savez.
No, I'm just shocked that
really?
you don't know society. You are making me sound like I've released some bay word.
Some bay word.
Society. Oh, please, any guns here?
I'm sure the Nkai locals watching this video. Wale society. No.
But I can imagine how the name came about.
I have no idea. When I was born,
it was there.
I was there.
It's still there.
It's still there. We are happy calling it society.
It's a community of
society
of outboard motor owners.
Actually, society.
Anyway, so thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining us this morning.
Yes.
It's been good conversations. It's important for us to make progress, and impact on development, and see, like you said, I mean, the speed of urbanization is crazy. So, we have to try and get ahead
to catch up.
To catch up.
All right, Breakfast Daily, we're going to go on a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.